The world has changed. Companies shifted production lines 180 degrees overnight. Supply chains form and reconfigure faster than ever before. How are you navigating this global disruption? Disruption requires agility. We know it can be hard to get started with Agile. Even if you have ideas, it can be difficult to put them into practice with the right technologies. And that's why we're excited to kick off the Agile Manufacturing Series. And today, part one of the series, Agile Manufacturing 101, will focus on digital transformation for small to medium businesses. It's going to be an amazing day filled with some incredible speakers. We're excited to share how businesses are leveraging digital transformation to drive impact like never before during a year like no other. You'll learn how businesses adopted a digital culture to improve ROI. Experience a live digital transformation in real time during a hands-on workshop. You'll explore the myths and realities of industrial cloud with AWS. We can do more together than we can apart. So I'm so excited that executives like yourself from around the world are joining us to share insights, discuss challenges, and get your questions answered. By the end of today, you'll have the necessary knowledge and skills to continue transforming the world. So again, welcome to Agile Manufacturing 101 Day. Welcome everybody to today's Digital Manufacturing Series 101. We're just so excited to get started with the day. Today we're going to be talking to Eddie Atkins, and he's just going to be giving us an overview about everything you need to know to get started with digital manufacturing as a small to medium business manufacturer. Welcome, Eddie. Hi, Eddie. How are you doing today?
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you doing, Pedicure? It's good to be here, and excited for the morning talking to share a bit on digital manufacturing, and then get to talk to some SMBs later on this morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're just really excited to kick off the Agile Manufacturing Series today. And just tell us a little bit about yourself, Eddie, what you do at Tulip, how long you've been working, and what your areas of concentration are.
Yeah, so I lead our customer success team globally. My background, I'm a manufacturer by background. I've worked 10 years doing as a manufacturing engineer, and then my passion really is improvement in manufacturing. And as I went through my career, more and more of that led to like digital topics, and Tulip, the tool I sort of met, was the tool that I really wanted to have when I was an engineer, and kind of end up today working across our customer base. I spend a lot of time in life sciences, doing a lot of work in that area, but really working across our customer base, the ones that have taken Tulip on, and helping them take their Tulip deployments to the next level and get the most value out of it. And particularly excited by like our SMB population of customers always excite me, because they're ones we don't always get to interact with that often, but when we do, they normally have something to surprise me, and have implemented something quite innovational. So looking forward to talking to people later about what they've been doing.
Thank you, Eddie. And we're very glad to have you this morning. I know you're going to take us a little bit through digital transformation 101, and really just like how to get started as an SMB entering this digital space. Yeah. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and let's get started.
Yeah, great. Cool. Thanks, Pedicure. So hopefully this all works okay. So yeah, hire me. Yes, there's a photo of me as well. Hopefully we got the right person for the presentation. That's good. So seriously, what we're going to cover is 3 topics. So part 1 is how we're actually, the technologies that we use in Industry 4.0, and they're exactly the same in SMBs, but also for across all of industry, and how that relates to the culture that you have. Secondly, there's particular challenges that SMBs have in implementing Industry 4.0 and getting the most from the technology. Is going to sort of spell those out and go through them, and share maybe some examples, and how actually the move towards no code and SaaS platforms is really going to help support SMBs, we believe. And thirdly, a 2-stage process, a way to think about taking what's available to you as an SMB and how to turning that into a successful deployment of digital topics that are going to help drive value in your operation. So just jumping into the first topic, like what do we mean when we talk about Industry 4.0 or digital manufacturing? And really, there's a lot of technologies that are coming forward that are driving improvement in manufacturing, and we hear lots of stories, lots of example use cases across all of these that drive value, whether it's robotics that are augmenting work or automating very repetitive jobs, whether it's cloud computing that's enabling you to be more connected, collecting your data together, new technologies like additive manufacturing that are allowing you to actually change the way you do your processes and bringing it. Really, what we see is that there's a lot of, beyond just the technologies, the actual cultural change is still critical for making improvement and making a way forward. The people are still there, they're still part of your manufacturing process. The way they work, the way they behave with these new tools is as important to making an improvement as is the actual technologies that you choose themselves. Culture is super important. What do we see when we look at some of the data that's showing us? And this is a very familiar chart to me. We share it to our customers all the time. But the amount that the industry is spending on automation is more than 2 trillion a year. That's a huge amount of money. But we still, when you look at the problems or the issues that are coming out of manufacturing, 70% of these are human-centric problems. They're not things that are going to be solved by deploying big automations. They're things that the training is not running. There's some human error in the process. The procedure we were following wasn't wrong. And when you go deeper into these problems, and we all work in manufacturing, you see that it's not just one big problem solving one big problem is going to close it. It's actually many little problems all built up, and you need to go and talk to the people and uncover them. And there's a lot of work, and there are lots of many small problems. And current technology doesn't lend itself well to solving many more problems. In manufacturing, manufacturing has involved lean ways of working, like lean manufacturing culture, which is really that to uncover all of those small problems, solve them, standardize, improve, share best practices. What we want to move forward with is really how do we solve those little problems, but now bringing in the digital element. And I think a good place to really start, and a very simple digital tool that you can apply very quickly, is to start gaining visibility of your production processes. So really understanding where those 70 to 80% of issues that you've got, really where are they coming from? What part of the production line? How often are they occurring? Collecting some, as well as numerical data about failures, but also some causal data and some photos and a whole collection of data that can help you look back at what's going on and understand those problems. But also transparency and visibility in real time. So data that's giving you real-time transparency on how you're performing, so it allows you to respond quicker to some of those problems. And I think this can really help you take some of that, uncover what those problems are that you see below the line, and bring them up to the surface, make them very transparent, and then you can start tackling them as the organization. And I'll share in a minute like how simple some apps can be that really get you up and running with production visibility. So when I go and talk to my customers, and mainly like and sort of reflecting on some of the SMBs that we work with, we really see these sort of 5 characteristics coming through. And transparency was the first one I brought up. I think all the people I talk to really focus on that first, like how can they understand what the problem is, create something simple to give them transparency that then allow them to drive improvement from. And then they're starting to work in other areas. So really starting to optimize, so using their data to think about how they can improve, and working through the problems, collecting data in a digital way, but then maybe applying some traditional problem-solving tools from Lean or Six Sigma in order to move that forward. And they then work together in a very, the term is Agile, very iterative process, and then proactively working on solving problems. So I think these kind of behaviors as much as anything else, and the ways of working really, really powerful. And then over time, they start to build up a connected system that really enables to drive true value across the plant. So they may share ideas, share apps across plant or across facilities, and we start to have a really big impact across the whole of the production metrics that the customer has. So some of the challenges that we see our SMBs and honestly all our customers facing with traditional systems, firstly really is often around like the acceptability of the technology that's brought. The system often hasn't been specifically designed to the process that's there in the facility. Often maybe is even the UI is very poor, not intuitive. Operators and supervisors that are used to using their phone and very intuitive apps expected to use sort of very complex interfaces. So there's probably like rejection at the front line. How do we solve that problem? Secondly, often, especially, and I think this is particularly for the SMBs, like software projects, technology projects are often very big, take a long time to come to value. There's a lot of risk in that, putting all that effort and time till you see some return. So the ability to be really shorten that time to value is super important, and that's what we look for when we're helping our customers and working with our customers. Standardization is a base. In manufacturing, we want in lean, you hear about it all the time. The standard is the first part where we want to improve from. This doesn't change, and often is difficult, if not very hard. And traditionally, we are trying to do an all or nothing, a big project, a big win, and something that is very rigid for the system that we can't do. So really, moving forward is trying to find something that is much more flexible and fits or overcome some of these challenges for an SMB. I think really to go a bit more specific on what we see, and hopefully this reflects with you, is how to actually have an implementation cost that's going to be viable. It's not something that's huge. It's going to have a huge setup cost. It's going to have huge time to get it running, but actually maybe something that you can actually build yourself, something you can prove out, start very small. Actually, the ongoing maintenance, with big software, big hardware systems, you're often having to then pay for the ongoing maintenance, or even have teams internally that are going to look after legacy and IT systems. How to take that away? This is the SaaS, the subscription model that we provide at Tulip. And then finally, how do you get the people that are going to be using the system? How do you get them up and running? And the high training costs maybe of a new big system that's complex, that requires new skills from the operators. So the question is, how can we build something that's very intuitive to use? Tulip is a no-code platform, so we're really trying to make it as easy as possible to use, but also putting lots of open source training and community building material that helps you get on board fast with the platform. So we really think there's two stages that we see typically our customers going through. First stage is really an opportunity to test out, taking as little risk as possible, really trying as much as you can, working in a very agile sprint way. So that's lots of iteratives, trying things, maybe failing, but stopping them very quickly. The production visibility, very easy use case to start with. Can get an app up and running that's collecting data and showing you some performance within a few hours from our app library. So a really great place to start. I think two things. Firstly, really do focus on something. Don't just sort of scattergun approach. I think focusing on we typically do a POV or a proof of concept. So really focus on a problem that you have and try and solve it over a period of time. And thirdly, minimize, make it isolated if as possible. Minimize trying to rely on a connection to an IT system or something that's going to put things out of your hands potentially, and really do focus on a problem that we can solve in its entirety. So that's stage one, really testing. At the end of that, you should have a good feel for what sort of like a platform can do, what digital solutions can do. And then it allows you to move forward and start thinking about how to scale that and how to move those successes forward. And typically, we see customers that are really taking those use cases that they've built out, taking those ideas and using those and the learnings from those and building them out across a facility. So, for example, might be an application for collecting quality information at the end of a production line. They've built it, they've got it working, they know how to use it to monitor their data. They then may roll that out and scale that across multiple production lines or multiple parts of their facility, for example. I think still we need to continue to think about this sort of agile way of working as we roll out. We see customers like iterating quickly and being happy to fail if they need to. That helps them learn very quickly, improve, and know that they've got to get the most out of all the opportunities. And then this way of iterating and adjusting and not believing you're going to have the first solution from day one. And then also using all that as you start to see value, really focusing your effort behind that value and pushing at and capturing it and scaling fast as we can and capturing the value across there as much as possible. So I think what I'd just like to show is moving a bit into some test use cases and how at Tulip we're solving some of these problems. And I think maybe more than just at Tulip, but the SaaS manufacturing SaaS software, no code platforms, solving Industry 4.0 problems with apps, basically. So here's some example use cases that typically our customers build with the platform. So we've talked about the production visibility, digitizing quality checks, audit checks, getting that data into a platform that can be analyzed out of paper. You're reducing a lot of admin time as much as getting that visibility into what your performance is. The core of the platform, as well as visual instructions for the operator. So whether that's work instructions where you're really taking the operator step by step through an assembly process, or some training applications that allow them to learn a process for the first time, and you can even verify that they're doing that right in the first time. And then you can move on and start to connect Tulip to devices and machines and collect data to monitor performance from those machines, but also integrate them into your applications, whether that's for collecting quality data or work instructions in other ways. So I mean, we're seeing some pretty big results with our customers, and I think the work that McKinsey have done with the World Economic Forum here is pretty realistic. It seems pretty significant, like a 200% increase in factory output, but it's 2 times. It's like finding some improvements in change. Like we see changeover improvement, often driving like line up time or reducing rejects, and we see improvements there. I think the productivity increase 5 to 160%, so quite a big range again. I think the top end we do really see big improvements, and not just often in the top performer, but more in the performance of everybody becoming more consistent across a worker group, because you're giving them better instructions. The training material that you're giving people is easier to learn. You also have the visibility if people are getting behind. So it's possible to have significant changes. I think particularly as building on from that, the quality impact around 90% improvement in cost of quality reduction. I think that is a serious impact as you're focusing on where you've got value, putting apps in place that can help improve the way you're putting equipment together or assembling it, but also collecting data on quality from in the process to give you more transparency of what you need to improve or why things are failing. And not just collecting data of this failed or but actually collecting a full suite of information when you're collecting quality data. So digital photos, maybe a video of the process, lots of different information that comes together that helps you respond and solve the problem in real time. Real improvements. I think McKinsey show it here, and we see these with our customers as well. So the process that we work with fits very much a continuous improvement cycle standard that you would know. So you start with your process on the shop floor. You then build a standard, which becomes your manufacturing app that may be very simple, just collecting data about your process on day one, but may become more complex, giving you some instructions about assembly, pulling data in that you can collect for the operator. That starts to then be used in production and give you performance information in real time. So the production data you can see coming from that application, and then you can look at that data and understand, how do I need to optimize my process? How do I need to change instructions for the operator? Do I need to add some checks in because we see them always failing? Or is there a video? We can take a video of the person that's doing it really well and add that to the instructions or the training. So a way of optimizing and improving the process, and at the same time then improving the app and going back to measuring the process. So I think the exciting thing for me really here is how do we really empower people to solve their own problems? We heard at the beginning that it's over 70% of the challenges are driven by like frontline people issues. We need to get the people solving those own problems. And with an app-based platform like Tulip, you're able to really engage the operators and I think give them something that works well, that helps them do their job better, not just a hindrance tool to collect data or to control the process, but really something that's going to help them improve and be better every day. The engineers, we can enable the process engineers who own the process to build out their own digitization. They can make their own apps, they can make their own digital processes, they can collect the data that they need to really steer the ship and solve the problems. And then finally, the leadership teams, you can start to get a great view across your operation, across great transparency about what is happening, what's going well, what's not going so well, and help you focus on those most important KPIs and drive the performance of your operation forward. I think, as we've said, we are focusing on solving the 70% of losses that typically aren't tackled by automation, solving them one app at a time, and seeing some significant impact across our customer base. And this sort of impact is exactly the same at an SME as it is at a big manufacturer. And I think having a software solution that's subscription based, that allows you to start without very little risk, gives ISMBs a great opportunity to try things and fail and create some of these great opportunities in their production environments, and hopefully giving them a competitive edge that they maybe haven't had always before. I think we offer some super simple ways to get started. Everything comes out of the box, and we have lots of great support materials to guide you through implementation. So looking forward to the rest of the day, getting to talk to some of our SMB colleagues, and hopefully you have lots of questions for me that I can either answer now or later through the day on the chat. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Eddie, so much for this overview on Digital Transformation 101. As Eddie said, we have a full packed program for you guys today. We'll be starting the Agile Manufacturing 101 panel. We'll hear from different SMBs around the world about a lot of the stuff that Eddie has talked about. So you'll get to see how it's actually put into practice. And then later on, there will be a workshop. So feel free to drop questions in the comments, and we'll definitely reach out to you if you guys have any immediate questions. And also connect with us. You can visit our website. You can download a free trial, or just really explore and learn about digital transformation a bit more. All right, again, thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Speak later on. Bye-bye.